Here we go, day one, folks. Day one. Day one of our official vlogging of our exercising. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep up with this. Technically, I want to be doing this first thing in the morning. We're going to go into all the technicalities of this so-called training program. I am an undisciplined, I am a procrastinator. I'm not great at this, right? I'm not better than anybody else when it comes to training at all. I should probably, yeah, you guys are going to see a nice little strip session for a second because I forgot to put these on. But anyway, you guys are going to see it from the very beginning to the very end because, you know, we'll all progress in our own, we all progress in our own time and it's only a matter of time. I really like this training program. By the way, Lee Wayland, Pacific Rim Athletes. For reference, I don't know how much of these videos they'll be able to use, but hey, this is most certainly going to be, what would you call it? Some sort of, what do you call it? Marketing, right? I don't get paid for this at all. However, it is definitely, I'm going to stand by it, right? I'm going to stand by it from the very beginning for as long as I can. This isn't necessarily a Pacific Rim strategy. This is functional patterns. If you guys know me for any amount of time, if you guys have known me, then you know that I've progressed and have gone through many training parameters. Most heavily been involved is and has been functional patterns with Naudi Aguilar, something that I think everybody can really start at. It's like a very foundational, basic understanding, basic principle of getting your body where it needs to be from the start, right? This is people with these are people with injuries, coming from rehab, you're going through surgery. Anybody with any sort of ailment can start from a place like functional patterns, at least from what I've seen. I'm sure there's other programs out there, but quite honestly, functional patterns is very basic. It literally starts like your first 3 weeks, your first 2 to 3 weeks is understanding how to get this position down. I know my camera probably isn't the best for this, but functional patterns, as I've mentioned in many videos before, is very simple in that it gets you to align your body in the proper stable position, right? At the very beginning alignment. If you're standing position, right, you want to have, I don't want to go through technical terms because I don't know them, even though I've been watching his videos for years now. If you want specific cues, I would say go to the training program. There's many videos. I would say look way back in his training vlogs rather than new, because quite honestly, I know he takes on a lot of heat from the masses. So I know nowadays some of his I don't want to say like his instruction, to me, this is just to me, some of his instruction is easier to follow from way back when, right? It's just, he talks basic principles, basic understandings. It can be difficult. It can be difficult to understand, but if you have the mindset, or if you have the understanding of technical terms, and you're very book savvy and you know words and everything, you just haven't gotten the physicality down, check out his old stuff. I pick up a lot on the physiology of the body rather than the anatomy. I'm not much for the names, like I said. I'm much more for how the body works. So I understand his parameters. I just cannot. It's very hard for me to teach. It's very difficult for me to actually describe, which is kind of where I'm trying to go, but just not there yet. But anyway, as you see, the bands are pretty simple. The bands put the body in a specific posture that is more or less oriented around the most common deficiencies, let me get my knees here, deficiencies that our bodies have grown into. This is a generalization, right? This is specifically for my body, right? So if you can tell what the bands are naturally doing to my body. If I were to let loose and let my body just go limp, this is what my body ends up doing. So if I do this, right, I have the bands around my shoulders pulling them forward. This is an over-exaggeration. And then as you saw me put the bands on, they are, wow, yee! They are, right under there, right? They're right under there. What they do is they will put my body in this sort of position, in this sort of position. So what I have to do is I have to actually fight the body. So I have to shrug in a way. I'm not necessarily doing this. I don't want to overextend, but if I start with an overextending and then flare the lats out, right? This is probably the part where most people don't get. What I see a lot of is that people don't know how to flare the lats. What they do is they'll shrug back, they'll shrug up, they'll shrug up, or they'll shrug back all the way. This isn't what we want. We want to go right about here. I know my lighting isn't necessarily right, but that's from the upper body. Also want to make sure that our navel, let me go that, there you go. Yeah, that's a little better. My window's on this side. So after that, instead of gut out, instead of gut braced, there's a few different versions, and I've shown this in other videos. It definitely helps to not be wearing a shirt for showing how different styles of bracing your core, because there's not just one way to brace your core, right? There's many different versions, more or less 3 or 4, right? And what you want to focus on, what I prefer to focus on, is keeping your navel in, kind of breathing inwards. And then I'm actually questioning whether or not to tighten the glutes, as far as like sucking in, or not, because you can suck in the navel here, but you don't have to tighten, right? Because when you tighten, it's actually shifting the pelvis forward, shifting it in. Gosh, here's the terminology again. Right, you see what I'm doing here. This is physiology at work. So there's lots of different movements for the waist. I could flare my lats, right? I could flare my lats. Then I can retract the navel, lengthen my T-spine, right? The T-spine is everything from the shoulder all the way down to the, technically all the way to down to the coccyx, right? The lower portion of the spine. If we just go to the lower lumbar, we have lats, and then we have navel retraction, and then we can do a little bit of hips. So what you want to do is have your hips right in the middle, right? So not here, not there, right in the middle, right there. And then retract the navel, flare the lats, and then here is your basic standing position. Feet in alignment. I like to have feet just underneath shoulder width. And when I say shoulder width, to be more precise, like right about here, right? So not the outside of my shoulders, but right at like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Right at nipple level, right? Nips are right about here, and then that's pretty much where my feet are. And then obviously feet pointing forward for a proper stance. This is getting the body realigned. You can stand here like this and just stay there, right? That is exercise, folks. That's static training. That right there is as basic as it gets. We're going to progress on this and go into we're going to go into other static holds today, where we're going to go into, you'll see. But anyway, I might as well, if I go down here, yeah, you won't even see it. Man, I thought this was going to be a good position. It's hilarious. I've been doing filming for I don't know how long, and I can never find real quick positions for my camera. I just realized that this one's been set up, or at least where you guys are at, has been it's in my room. By the way, you're in everything right now, so excuse me, but I don't think I'm going to move you. But yeah, you're in my living room, my dining room. You're in my kitchen, my foyer. You're in my bedroom. You're in everything. This is my one room living space. So please do not. Yeah, you are in my room. All right. So thank you. Thank you for understanding this aspect of my life here. But I don't know if I'm going to be changing you. But I will be getting roughly right down here. Wow. Yeah, I'm only wearing spandex underneath, and it's definitely up in there right now. Not that I would usually wear much more. So comparisons and comparing and contrasting basic principles. I'm going to go ahead and get into my first stance, although I don't know where to go. Like, I want you guys to see all the way from my feet, because we're starting with a lower leg exercise. And even if I put you there, all right, I've got an idea. Hang on. I'm doing terrible right now. All right, here we go. It should be a little bit better. Yeah, I'll be right about here. So if I go down, yeah, perfect. I don't like moving much stuff. Wow. Broken toe, so give me some, yeah, play here. So the bands are functional patterns, Naudi Aguilar derived. The bands just put the body in the right posture. I'm wearing them. They're not necessarily Pacific Rim with Wayland. They're not necessarily Wayland certified, but I'm only wearing them because I think this is a basic foundation for at least providing some sort of stimulation for the body. Not that, gosh, what is this? I've already forgotten his first name. And I've said it already in my videos. Mr. Wayland at Pacific Rim. Not Meal, my goodness, I'm so sorry, excuse me. But I'm just now getting involved with his videos. It's been like a week. I'll remember, don't worry. But yeah, work with me. So essentially, what he says is to start off with static holds. Things like what I'm doing now, which is the horse stance. We have a lot of shoulder mobility. So I'll be doing the bridge. I'll be doing the bridge on the wall or handstand. I'll be doing the bridge on the wall. Wow. Oh, I'm wearing the bands because it does help put the body into posture immediately, right? It doesn't put your body in the posture. You have to fight the band. So it's providing just enough stimulation to where I have to actually fight the bands. Now it's only about 10 pounds of resistance, maybe 15 pounds of resistance in both directions, right? So each pattern, each movement pattern, right? Even though I'm not moving, is providing around 15 pounds of tension, 10 to 15 pounds. This isn't necessarily Lee Wayland? Golly, I'm terrible at this. Doesn't say to do this, however, yeah, I want to, because at least make it seem as if I'm doing some sort of benefit. So like I said, static training is not difficult. Wow, that toe sucks. But yeah, and I know I'm what am I doing? Procrastinating, right? Because I'm only procrastinating because I haven't necessarily gone into how to do the pose. It's not that difficult. It's not. Yeah, it's simple but not easy. Right there it is. Simple but not easy. And then I also wanted to mention that I am not at all. Like I said, it's only been a week since I've started doing this stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the position first. So feet 45-degree angle. I know you can't see them, but feet 45-degree angle, heels together, toes pointed 45 degrees out. And then in order to get into a horse stance, we're gonna go heels out, feet out, heels out again, toes pointed forward. Right, I'm gonna shift over just a little bit because I'm on You can't see, but I got puzzle pieces down here, a little soft, right? So now I'm actually on flat. And then once your feet are pointed forward, I believe the general guideline is twice as wide as your shoulder width, and shoulder width being roughly right nipple line, not necessarily outside of your shoulders, but right in between the nips and the armpits, right about armpit level. So once you've got that, you then begin to lower, obviously arms out, not obviously, but go ahead and arms out. If the bands are on, you should have to force your lats out, and then your navel should be retracted, and then your hips become, right in the middle. You just want to find that middle ground. You begin to lower. And guess what, folks? Yeah, that many minutes, folks. I'm not going to be able to do this. I didn't even get up. No, I got a few minutes. I got a few minutes on my first try, but I was also doing this. Watch what I'm about to do. I was also doing this. The physics on this kills me because technically I'm not holding any more weight. I'm not holding any more weight necessarily, but the weight is differentiating. I'm putting it elsewhere just by resting my knees on my elbows on my knees. So technically this is an even easier pose than this. So this is your top of the line pose. You can make it more difficult by making sure that your hips are in alignment. He also talks about pulsation. Pulsation, I already talked about this in the video, but essentially pulsation is very good because it's blood flow. It's simply blood flow. It's not a lot of movement, but blood flow is most certainly necessary. I'm probably going to use more. Always make sure your navel's retracted. I'm probably going to be using more pulsations in the morning, even though it will be very, very difficult. But yeah, we want to get blood flowing. I'm not necessarily opposed to movement. I think it's still a stepping stone to the static holds, even though movement usually trumps static holds, excuse me, when it comes to building muscle. But I think if your goal is static movements, then all you're doing if you can see, yeah, you can see my toes move. All you're doing when you're realigning, all you're doing when you're moving is just realigning the body. If I do this, I can hear cracks in my toes. If I do this, I'm just getting things activated. But the point is specifically to stay static. You want to hold that pose for 5 minutes and beyond. Oh my goodness. But it's not easy. So my goals, essentially, how I'm going to break that down, how I plan on increasing is pulsations are okay. Making sure that I feel my whole body in this range, usually, by the way, 90 degrees. You want this to be 90. Holy cow. I'm going to try and reiterate as much as possible. He also says, wow, that most of, I already got to come up. Most of, about 90 to 95% of static training is, getting through it is all up here, folks. Static training, which I cannot fight it either because not only does it sound accurate, but holy cow, which sucks. Because it just means right now my mentality is terrible. But static holds are essentially meant for your joints, ligaments, and tendons, right? This is not necessarily muscle building. Muscle building involves repetitions, right? And actual movement, right? I don't want to say repetitions, but actual movement. Holy quad burns. My, oh my, folks, this sucks. Holy cow. So how I plan on building this up is light pulsations just to get blood flow moving. Now that's a real low stepping stone because the actual point, obviously, as I said, is to stay static. not moving. Oh my goodness. And how I would think about progressing is by doing each, I think I've got maybe 4 or 5 static holds. Going from upper body to lower body, upper body, lower body. I'm trying to think of more lower body static holds, but I'm going to be doing bridge. I don't even know where to do the bridge without having you guys move. I could just go right back there, but I've got to be really, really careful because there's only so much wall. I could go in the corner over here. Anyway, but yeah, if I have about 4 or 5 different exercises, then you just cycle through that until I reach about 5 minutes per hold or more, right? The point would be to set a timer, start it when you start holding, and then stop it when you stop. Do a different exercise. Do the same thing and just run through 4 to 5 exercises of static holds until you reach 5 to 10 minutes. Also, what was I just gonna say? Dang it. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyway, ow. Let's go ahead and move. That might just work. So I'm going to go in the corner right here. And what you're going to see, hopefully, is I'm going to do, I would prefer to do regular, so two different versions of shoulder mobility on the wall, at least, is going to be face pointing towards the wall and then face pointing away from the wall. And when you go face away from the wall, you start to practice lowering your feet to the ground so that you can stretch the shoulder blades in this position, right? So you can begin the bridge movement. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then see how far we go. Hi, little fella. It's a little ant. So I won't be able to see you guys, but work with me. Yeah, this is probably going to blow. Kind of want to walk my feet up. I hope I don't leave any marks on this freshly painted wall. And yes, I'm going to do it in a corner, even though it says not to. And this is probably one of my worst holds. Oh, golly, this sucks. So if you see my glutes, you want to be as straight as possible. He said this to 5 minutes. I can barely do 30 seconds. Holy cow, I'm already feeling this. Oh, I hate shoulders so much. Oh, it's all in the head though. So if I have blood flow, it's already getting to the head. Breathe, retract the navel, tense the glutes. I'm actually using the wall for my elbows. So I'm making it easier. Whoa, I almost fell there. Oh my goodness. You can tell when I'm not, oh my Lord. You can tell how much I'm moving. I'm not doing this right. Wow. Wowzer. So I think the first thing that gets me is, jeez, man. The first thing that gets me is probably the blood rushing straight to the head, which is a surprise because it's not like I've never had that feeling. It's not like I've never had that feeling, but somehow, for some reason, when I do, whenever I do this or some sort of, whenever my weight is upside down and I have to use my hands to hold myself up, it's way different. So I can like hang from a bar from my back of my knees and hang upside down for some time, right? And that blood flow to the head won't get to me. It's totally different when I am doing some sort of handstand against the wall and I have to use my entire body to hold that position. So what that tells me is that there's a lot of locked upness somewhere in the upper thoracic portion of my body, my shoulders, and then some, right? There's just a lot of locked up tension that will keep my body from getting that blood flow to and from. Next thing was retraction of the navel. Was not always there. Even facing, it should be easier to get more of a frontal core, so abdominal, I don't know how to say frontal core. Yeah, because technically the whole core is everything from the waist, everything around the midsection. But I want to isolate the front of my core and make sure that make sure that my navel is retracted. Because if it's not, then you're just putting more weight on the back, and that's my low back is way stronger, right? I don't want to say way stronger, but tighter than my core is, my front core, my abdominals, and all those intersecting muscles of the core. I could what are some other leg ones? I want to go upper, lower, because there's a lot of tension placed on these shoulders in all of these static holds. So there's also like I don't want to say crab pose. Let's see if we can. I'm going to try. It might be completely different. I'm trying to get a well-rounded generalization. A well-rounded. I hope that doesn't fall. So another one. I don't even think I can do this quite yet. I might have to use the chairs. But another one. I don't even know how they do. I'm pretty sure it's because they're so far forward, and having these bands on might actually not help at all. But they are right. They're about there. They go way in there, and they're up here, raising their legs. Hey, I actually can do it. But I'm pretty sure wrists are maybe they're supposed to be this way. So if you can tell, I think you can kind of tell. Instead of this way, which if they are supposed to be palms this way down, I need to start stretching my wrists and get those obviously way more mobile, right? However, if they are the other way, I should be okay for now, at least, because that's the hold. That's this hold. Oh my gosh! Wowee! What was that? A second? Problem is, I have never done this one. I've tried it before, but I usually try it from here, which is even harder because I feel like I can't get my legs up or shoulders down, right? There's a movement here. So I might just do that, right? This, I know it's exercising, I know it's pulsating, I know it's actually movement, but if I can't hold the position, then if I can't hold the position of legs
legs lifted off the ground, which you still can't see, right? So technically, there you go. So here is one, which I cannot do, right? So I'm at level 0 on this. The other one is here. So you come in here, rotate the hands, and then, wow. And then you're here, right? You see this stuff in the gym. Oh my gosh, I can't even do it. Oh my goodness, that's insane. Wow, that's crazy. It's hilarious to see the students that, I'm gonna call him Dr. Wayland. I think it's Lee Wayland, but I'm just gonna call him Doc Wayland. Because wow, doctors aren't even telling you to do this stuff. I know it seems far like advanced, but there are ways to break all this down. I'm only going off of what I can remember, and I've been rolling through so many videos so fast, and I'm not even writing these things down. I'm kind of just soaking it all in as fast as I can. I'm only picking up so many things. So from here, just to get the practice down, I'm going to do a few of these, you know, maybe like 50. Now I do dips in this fashion. Like I won't actually do tricep dips. I'll do shoulder mobility dips. Maybe the bands won't help. Wow, the wrists are absolutely killer. So here's what I'm going to do. Probably won't help. This is probably making, it does make things easier. So maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but I am trying to, because the point is to get your joints and ligaments and tendons completely stronger, right? This isn't about building muscle in the beginning. It's all about setting up your body to where it can handle the tension of putting on extra load, putting on more weight. I am of the impression that all of fitness nowadays, 99% of fitness, where you go into the gym and you just start lifting heavy weights, that's 100% reason why we have injuries all over the place. This is why people are still going to the doctors, and even though you're in the gym and you're exercising, you're still struggling with pain, and you still got pain on one side, and you're still suffering from injuries. I've said this in every single fitness video that I keep on making. Why in the world would we be going to the gym and leaving in more pain? Pain meaning joint pain, back pain, low back pain and whatnot, where we have all these painful struggles, and we go to the gym and we're leaving in just as much, if not more pain than we were before, right? Why in the world would that be true? Why would that be a good thing? Why does this hurt? All right, these bands are not going to last. I'll tell you that right now. Matter of fact, maybe for just horse stance? I don't know. But wow, this is, yeah. I don't know, because I don't know quite exactly the proper position. I see a lot of, I see a lot of different things. Wow, man. Whew. I think this is working. I do want to warn. I do want to warn people not to follow any of this. I think I know I've heard it enough times. Dr. Wayland likes to mention it in most of his videos, that one of the biggest problems that people do is mistake his videos for instruction rather than more or less entertainment or for understanding purposes. It's not necessarily instruction. I guess I want to say to be a hater. It's not a hater aspect. It's more or less maybe constructive criticism. But I have no room to say it because I'm not a teacher. I'm not a leader in most of these cases. But his videos, more or less, aren't necessarily for education. What he does is go over basic principles of his training program, but does not really go too far in depth. I think a lot of his training does involve getting real-time, like one-on-one based scenarios. I know his actual training program does have a price. It comes with much dedication from the individual, from the client, and it's way more people-based, right? It does take accountability. It does take, it takes someone actually teaching rather than just watching the videos and trying to learn what you can from his videos, which is exactly what I'm doing, but I would like to think that I'm a little bit, maybe a little bit more progressed. I don't want to say a little bit more. You know, I understand I'm going to hit a plateau eventually. I'm already at a plateau. No, I'm not at a plateau. I just don't know how to progress. Right? Like I can come here, but then they're usually pulsing. Oh, so those are probably lower. Wow, I think that's just too much. I think one of them, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, I've got to. Oh. 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 My God. Those are just rough. Another one is hands down. And then single leg. Toes flared, single leg lifts. But you're obviously, you kind of got to know the basic principles of body positioning. And I'm not even going to sit here and say that I do know. I question how hunched forward some shoulders get. When it comes to training, like the gymnasts are way up here and they're flaring their lats. It's almost like a bat wing pose. But I think, wow, I know I could do a lot more than that, but I'm like, I feel like I'm vlogging and I need to like talk. That might be a hang up for you guys here. Wow. Ah. Static holds though are really rough. I haven't even done the bridge yet. So yeah, I think this is good in that I could even move here and do this for an even higher. I mean, it's not really higher because now, obviously, I mean, if you know physics, you know that this isn't making it any different or any better, any stronger. It's just changing the wrist. It's just changing the wrist positioning, which makes it easier on the wrists. But I'm not necessarily lifting this higher. I don't think I am, than I am here. Yeah. Anyway, so this is gonna be so difficult. I'm not even done with a round, folks. Guys, I'm not even done with a round. Another one that I didn't even consider are hangs, and that's why I didn't think about it, because I don't have a place to actually hang here. I have bars. Ooh, but I don't have a place to hang. And the hang is detrimental, folks. We're meant to swing, not do pull-ups, right? I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be done with pull-ups, repetition pull-ups, because they're worthless when it comes to range of motion, right? Because that's just one pattern, right? We're meant to be this,
We're meant to be this in all movement, right? If this was the only thing we were meant to do, then our shoulders wouldn't have ball and socket joints, right? It wouldn't be a ball and socket. We wouldn't be able to rotate, right? We need to be able to move. We need to be able to hang from all these different movement patterns, right? With our shoulders. Wow. Doing good. Doing good. We just got started. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and move to the bridge. I'm gonna move back on over here. Sit you up in a little corner. This one will be a little bit different. I'm so sorry. I want to be able to face you guys and see how it actually looks on the camera. Oh man, I'm terrible at this one. Terrible at all these shoulder ones. So we're gonna go there. And let's see, I'm supposed to be able to walk, oh my gosh, walk ourselves right on out. And then I want to be able to stretch. They even talk about doing reps like this. Now I could get into a, oh my gosh, no way. It's terrible. Oh my gosh, why am I having such a difficult time with these? No way. Guys, if I try and do this first thing in the morning, this sucks. This is terrible. This is horrendous. Wow, dude. I mean, I know I have rough shoulders. Don't get me wrong, but they're not the worst. Oh my gosh, they are not the worst. I can do some things with my shoulders. Look at my hair. Yeah, that's a hair, all right. I don't know where it's from. I have not the greatest shoulders, but I don't have the worst of shoulders either. I mean, my shoulders are just as bad as my camera angles, but I mean, golly, in comparison, it's like at least I'm on camera. Guys, it falls. At least I'm on camera, unlike others who wouldn't dare. This is going to be difficult because that's horrendous. I may have to add, this is where I'd have to add poles into the mix. Wow. My head's boggling right now. I haven't done this. This is day one, folks. So give me a break on the training here. Wow. So then I would probably go, I would probably do mixture of hangs after this. I would mix that all up though. Leg, nice hawk somewhere. Did you hear that? Yeah. I hear it. I hope you guys, I don't know if anybody else can hear that. But yeah, horse stance, probably a handstand, then probably a push off the ground with legs elevated. Or no, I'd probably do a back, some sort of dead hang, and then I would do some sort of push off the ground. Then I would do another dead hang maybe. Or I would do another horse stance, and then I would change to the other handstand, right? So you have two different handstands, face pointing towards the wall, face pointing against the wall, face away from the wall. Away from the wall will then lead to the bridge pose. And then you have two different dead hangs. I don't know. There are many different of everything. I'm just trying to work out some sort of program in my head here. You can always do single arm, right? Single arm dead hangs.
which are wow, or double with shoulder mobility. And guys, I've been doing this stuff too. Like I've been doing shoulder stuff for a minute. I gotta be honest, I'm not doing great. I'm not doing great. Like, if I were to have judged how much better my dips have gotten, actual dips, right? So if I were to judge how many more dips I can do on a dip bar based off of how much more I've been doing this on the dip bar, I have not seen that much progression. So I got to figure something out. What did I go through? Yeah, and then you'd have two other push off the floors, right? So push behind and then push on the side, right? Push from the side with feet elevated and then push in front with feet elevated. Wow, guys, that's one round and I didn't even dead hang. I'm not tired, right? This isn't supposed to be physically depleting. This isn't energy burning. Quite honestly, the diet that one would undermine during a static style exercise routine, I would think is completely different than if you were to go dynamic or, some sort of static. I can't recall the other word. Static versus non-static movement, right? Pulsing, reps, sets. Yeah, because it's not that calorie depleting, even though it does deplete calories. It's not as much. Although the soreness, I have yet to feel the reality of like a week doing this. It's supposed to be every day. Doing this for like a week straight, let alone a month or a few months. But I would assume the soreness is probably going to be even worse, like way worse than doing the muscle building. Yeah, I honestly do. Like, I feel like it would be compared, I was going to say comparison, compared to something of like nervous system depletion, right? So when you do 1 rep maxes and you're doing your when you're doing your power movements, when you're doing your everything from 0 to 10 seconds, of energy output, that's very taxing on the nervous system, right? Rather than muscle depletion, right? Muscles start to get heavily, DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, heavy lactic acid buildup within the 30 seconds to a minute and a half even. Maybe even up to 2 minutes of a set, but that's in a set, like that's going over. That's almost overkill. And then everything from 130 to 2 minutes plus is getting into the endurance phase, right? So, and that's more taxing on, obviously, endurance, right? Your lungs can actually have a taxation. Your heart can have a taxation. You could be physically tired just from breathing, hyperventilating, right? Not natural, because as the species evolves, we have gone the other way. We've come from the endurance lifestyle. We used to run and hunt and hunt. I know I'm going against the Christian background in that, but at least the biblical. Let me say at least the biblical background. If we're only alive for 6,000 years, then that kind of takes the hunter-gatherers out of the aspect. But if you want to play against that, then yeah. If we evolved from hunter-gatherers, then yeah, we are killer endurers. We run, we throw, we swing, this is what they were doing. Not necessarily this, but what this progresses into, right? Just multi-movement patterns of stuff. Gosh, I am supposed to do the whole routine for you guys on here.
I might have to stop and do this on my own. I was hoping that I would use you guys as my visual for making me do better. That may take a second because I also struggle with self-limiting beliefs. So I don't actually think if I don't do too good, then who's gonna watch, right? So I know it's crap, it's bull crap mentality. But yeah, I will do my best to at least give you guys a round or two every morning as often as possible. Taxation on the endurance system. It's there. It's happened. All right, it's there. I was going to go into that a little further, but be that as it may, look at me. I'm not even awake yet. I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't even go into Bible study yet. We had a pretty good Bible study session this morning. We went into isolation and Elijah, Prophet Elijah, and I don't know anything about the story. But I got to start reading King James, First not King James, my goodness. First Kings, right? First and Second Kings, right? First and Second Kings book, Old Testament. Prophet Elijah, apparently he was a master isolator and took independence to a whole new level. And it seems like someone I need to read and learn from. But yeah, a lot goes into that one. I'm not going to sit here and rattle off any into that. 50 minutes is long enough even for one set. I'm going to go ahead and keep on going here, but just to give you guys a general idea, general training principle of how this stuff works. Yeah, I'm going to have quite a pump, hopefully, from static training, but I don't plan on it. And most static training isn't pump involved. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for following. Move expressively. Peace.